people are no longer watching it. And when people no longer watch it and that data is in and crystal clear, TNT is going to say, well, then we don't want to pay for this. And if, television networks stop paying for what is our signature in-season event, well, then that's less basketball-related income. And when you start factoring that in down the road with the next contract, that's how your salary cap gets reduced. And you're wondering why you don't make as much money as you used to make. And it's because the All-Star game ain't worth nothing anymore. We need to take this more seriously. And Adam Silver said the feedback from the players was like, okay, commissioner, okay, boss, like, all right, we hear you. We'll do our best. Said they even had Larry Bird come in and talk to the players. Larry Legend sat down with Anthony Edwards and everybody else and said, guys, you got to start playing. It's got to resemble a basketball game. Tell us what the NBA needs to do to help you get prepared, better play a basketball game, and then that's what we'll do. And they said, hey, you got to shorten halftime. You got to shorten introductions, blah, blah, blah. They said, okay, we'll do all that stuff. And then guess what happened? One team scored 200 and something. The other one scored almost 200 and something. And so Adam Silver said this when asked about that this past weekend by Gayle King, Charles Barkley. He said it was a great All-Star weekend, but we didn't have a basketball game. And had I not seen what happened this year, I think we were ready to move towards an All-Star game where it was the United States players versus international players. But now I'm just wondering, and it's a good conversation to have, but I'm just wondering whether this generation of players just see the All-Star game as a midseason break. He went on to explain, Adam Silver, that the one thing that worked from All-Star game weekend is the Sabrina versus Steph shooting competition. So he said he thinks that might be the type of thing that they need to focus on, competitions, celebrations of the sport of basketball. But if the players are going to consistently tell him, we're not going to actually play basketball, we're just going to, dunk and shoot 30-footers and dunk and shoot 30-footers, and somebody's going to score 220 and somebody else is going to score 205, and that's the way we're going to do it. If that's the best you're going to do, if that's all you can give me, then we might not do this going forward. I think that's the proper response, Bennett. After this All-Star game, I think we came in here on that Monday and I said, I don't know that it's possible to make the players approach this differently. They might just be clocked out on it. But if they actually refuse to approach it in any sort of serious manner, well, then you should just do away with it. Having no All-Star game is better than having that All-Star game. And it appears that Adam Silver agrees with me now.
Yeah, so here's I would be careful with not having the game, or at least you got to know that whatever you replace it with is awesome. And they've clearly experimented with some things, like you said, that work. But if you look at what the NFL did with the Pro Bowl games, now granted, they're still getting the same number the NFL is for the Pro Bowl games that the NBA is getting for All-Star. It's right around 5.5 million. But again, that's the NFL. But the NFL Pro Bowl game, that has taken a huge nosedive in the ratings. People are not watching that at all, those Pro Bowl games, since they don't play an actual Pro Bowl game anymore. And so not playing a game, if you're the NBA, I would just be careful with that. I know it's been bad and people are kind of checked out on it, especially after this past year, but I might focus more on trying to fix it than just saying we're not going to do a game altogether, because people still watch it. I mean, again, they got 5.5 million views for the All-Star game this year. So
I know, but what he is saying is we've been trying to fix it.
Yeah.
I get it. We've been trying to fix it. We sat down with the players and we said, how do we fix this? You tell us. And they said, we need you to do A, B, and C. And so we did it. We did what they asked us to do, and they still didn't play. So I hear you, Bennett. Yeah. I hear you. This is what Adam Silver would tell you. I agree with you. I think we should try to fix it. What I'm telling you is we've been trying to fix it. You got any ideas? If you got ideas for me, tell me what they are, and I'll take them to the players. But our experience with the players is they'll shake their head and tell us they understand, and they'll shake their head and they'll be like, okay, we understand. We'll do it differently. But then we throw the ball up and they don't do it differently. So, what do you want me to do? I bet you this is Adam Silver's a smart guy. I don't think you just cancel the All-Star game like that forever. I bet you he's just floating these things. All right, if you guys don't want to do it, we won't do it. It's fine. We just won't do it then. And then the conversation will restart. and they'll say, all right, let's do United States against international and see if we can tap into that. And I promise we'll try to make it better. And he'll say, okay, one more shot. I'll give you one more shot to try to make it better. And then we'll see what happens there. And then odds are they just will not take it seriously. But and then we'll end up playing what is the equivalent of flag football for the NBA All-Star Game weekend. Like, we'll get there eventually. But I will say, for whatever this is worth, this is one where the attitude of fans and largely the media completely runs counter to the attitude of players. Like, I work with former NBA All-Stars, and you know what they tell you? I wouldn't want to play hard in that game. I wouldn't want to. Like, whether it's Wally Zerbiak or Roy Hibbert, you know, they work with both these guys this weekend. They both were NBA All-Stars. And though I think Wally would tell you, because Wally was in the All-Star game where Dwayne Wade broke Kobe Bryant's nose. Like, that was Wally's All-Star game. And he's like, that's how we were playing. Like, Dwayne Wade broke Kobe Bryant's nose, and Kobe Bryant loved it. So, like, that's where we were when I was in the All-Star game. So something has definitely changed. But what Wally, Roy, and every other NBA All-Star I've ever talked to has said is that the truth is, it's not even I'm not going to try, although that is the root of it. The other thing is, like, by the time you get to Sunday night, you're exhausted. Yeah. Like, think about if you went to Vegas for 3 nights and treated Vegas like Vegas, and then on night 4 they said, hey, you got to play a basketball game.
Right.
It's like he said it's not even like people are actively saying, I'm not even going to try. It's like you are exhausted by the time you get to Sunday night. You haven't. Oh, here's the other thing, and I don't think I ever recognize this. They don't practice at all because there's no time for it. So it's like you don't even run through anything. It's just everybody really shows up for the All-Star game on Sunday night, 2 hours before tip-off, hungover, exhausted, and it's like, all right, I guess let's get out on the court for 48 minutes. Like, that's what it is. So it's one of those things where the fans say play hard, and the commissioner says play hard, and the media says play hard, and the players are like, you don't understand how those players feel on Sunday night. And then when you combine it with the risk of injury and everything else, not only – and Adam Silver did say this because he didn't make it just about the players. He said, here's the other problem. The franchises don't want the players playing hard. The franchises don't want the players killing themselves out there in what is an exhibition. So it's not just a players thing. The general managers and the owners don't seem to want this thing either in the way we want it. So we have to look at that. So we could have big changes coming to All-Star Weekend. Either way, interesting conversation. Adam Silver, Charles Barkley, Gayle King. I'm sure you can find that on the internet if you want to go hear it for yourself.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.